My family's from the Caribbean, and my favorite holiday drink is called cocoa tea or Haitian hot chocolate. It is a complex fruity and bitter flavor that is enhanced by spices and milk. This natural cocoa drink is acidic due to the natural acids occurring in cocoa beans, as well as the lactic and acetic acids that are developed during the fermentation process of cocoa beans. Polyphenol compounds and methylxanthine compounds inside of natural cocoa also contribute to the bitter flavor. Even though I love the bitterness and the acidity of this natural cocoa drink, not everyone loves to drink it this way. So, the Spanish colonizers brought cocoa beans back from the Americas to Europe, and the European elite loved this drink. I mean, it was the drink of kings back in America, so they knew it was fancy, but they had two main problems with it. It was acidic and it was way too oily. And this problem was solved later by a Dutch chemist called Conrad Johannes van Houten. And in the late 1820s, he invented a hydraulic press for cocoa beans in order to remove the majority of the fat from cocoa beans. And Houten also pioneered the process that we call Dutch processing of cocoa. In Dutch processing of cocoa, raw cocoa solids, after fermentation and roasting, are treated with an alkalization process. An alkalization process takes the acidic compounds in natural cocoa and neutralizes them. This alkalization process is commonly conducted using sodium bicarbonate or baking soda, but there are a variety of other alkalizing agents that can be used on the raw cocoa solids as well. Some describe Dutch processed cocoa as having a cleaner or more chocolatey flavor than natural cocoa that we typically pick up in our grocery stores here in America. Another key difference between Dutch processed cocoa and natural cocoa is that Dutch processed cocoa is much darker in color. If you want to remove even more of the complexity from the flavor of chocolate, I don't know why I'd want to, but you can. You can get black cocoa powder instead of Dutch processed cocoa powder. Black cocoa powder is alkalization taken even further than what we do for Dutch processed cocoa powder. Even though you might think you've never tasted black cocoa powder before, you actually have if you've ever had an Oreo cookie. Another key difference between Dutch processed cocoa powder and natural cocoa powder is the pH. The pH of natural cocoa powder is acidic around 5, and in Dutch processed cocoa powder, it's neutral around 7. And so when you're formulating recipes with natural cocoa powder or Dutch processed cocoa powder, you really have to pay attention to the balance between acids and bases inside of your recipe, especially if you're trying to make something that's leavened, like a cake or a brownie. If you want to know more about recipe formulation using Dutch processed cocoa powder instead of natural cocoa powder, I highly recommend checking out the science communicator Sugarology. She is a scientist by training, but also a home baker who makes really detailed videos about the baking process and the science behind it. She created an excellent video not too long ago about black cocoa powder, and I highly recommend checking it out.